What if I told you that a penny you've walked past, kicked under your car seat, or tossed into an old jar decades ago, could be worth over $967,000 today? No, this isn't a clickbait story. This is a real, documented reality in the world of rare coins, and the most shocking part, it's a 1967 Lincoln Memorial Cent, NO mint mark. No flashy gold plating. Just a copper coin hiding a secret that could change your life forever. But here's the twist. Most people throw this coin away. Are you about to do the same? Stay with me because by the end of this video you'll know exactly how to spot the $1,000,000 penny, how much it's truly worth, and how to turn that dusty jar of change into a financial breakthrough. Let's rewind to 1967. America was changing. The Vietnam War raged on, Elvis married Priscilla, and a humble copper coin was quietly minted into circulation. The 1967 Lincoln Memorial penny, struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark, was supposed to be just another coin. Ordinary, disposable, forgotten. But what if I told you one version of this penny wasn't so ordinary? In fact, some of these coins, due to rare minting errors, double dies, and unusual planchet compositions, have surfaced years later and sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. Imagine finding one in your childhood coin collection. Imagine learning it's worth more than your house. Imagine selling it and never worrying about money again. Would you recognize it? Now let's break it down. What makes the 1967 penny so valuable? There are 3 hidden factors that collectors are hunting for. First, minting errors. Some 1967 pennies were struck off-center, doubled, or with planchets meant for other coins. These flaws? They're not mistakes. They're money. Point 1 off-center strike penny with a double die reverse sold for over $35,000 at auction. Second, condition. Most coins wear down from circulation. But if you have a mint state or uncirculated 1967 penny, especially one graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, you're sitting on a treasure. And if it's red-toned copper, not brown, even better. Collectors pay tens of thousands more for that shine. Third, rarity of variants. There are whispers in the numismatic world about a mule version of the 1967 penny, a penny struck with a dime's reverse. Only a few may exist, but one confirmed find could fetch well over $967,000. Now you might be thinking, wait, a penny worth nearly $1 million? That sounds insane. And you're right, it does. Until you remember that a 1943 bronze penny sold for $1.70 million, and that was just a copper mix dash-up. So let me ask you, what's sitting in your sock drawer right now? Quick quiz. If someone handed you 5 pennies and said one was worth 6 figures, would you toss them all into the tip jar? Or take a second look? Because if you're not checking, someone else will. You don't need to be a coin expert. You don't need to own a museum. You just need one coined a 1967 Lincoln Memorial penny NO mint, mark, copper, forgotten, and maybe, just maybe, flawed in all the right ways. Go find your old coin jars. Look through inherited coin books. Ask your parents, grandparents, even your neighbor's uncle. Off-center strikes, doubling on letters, unusual shine or coloring signs of being struck on the wrong planchet. If you find something suspicious, stop everything. Get that coin professionally graded. PCGS and NGC are your go-to. And never clean your coins. Ever. It could cost you thousands. This one coin, this tiny copper circle, could pay off your debts, buy your dream home, or fund your children's future. But the window is closing as more people learn the truth. The hunt grows competitive. Your $1 million penny could be sitting in a stranger's pocket by next week, so I'll leave you with this. Fortune doesn't always come in gold. Sometimes it comes in copper, and sometimes it's right under your nose. Next week, we uncover another hidden gem. A nickel. That's sold for over $1.20 million. And spoiler alert, it looks just like the one in your change cup. Subscribe now because missing the next video might just cost you your fortune. Your wealth might already be in your hands. Are you ready to unlock it? Did you know a 1-cent coin from 1970 could buy you a luxury home in Beverly Hills? Yes, you heard that right. One old, coppery penny, just like the ones tossed into wishing fountains, has sold for nearly $970,000. Not a joke. Not a myth. And it may be sitting right now, inside your old coin jar, collecting dust. So what makes the 1970 D Lincoln Memorial penny so valuable? Why are collectors lining up, ready to throw down nearly $1 million for a coin that says 1 cent? Well, get comfortable. Because once you understand the hidden story behind this coin, you'll never look at pennies the same way again. But fair warning, by the time this video ends, you'll be racing to your attic. America. 1970. A nation in flux. Vietnam protests, moon landings, and a U.S. mint producing billions of coins, some of them routine, but a tiny few absolute anomalies. Point one of them? The 1970 D Lincoln penny. At first glance, it looks like any other. But behind its copper glow hides a story of rare errors, secret minting flaws, and a collector's frenzy that has made this coin one of the most sought-after pennies in U.S. history. Let's break it down. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of pennies in 1970. Most are worth face value, but a very, very limited number have something different, something powerful. The 1970 D small date Lincoln penny, and more specifically, the ones with double die obverse errors. Now, before your eyes glaze over from coin jargon, stay with me. This is where things get exciting. Imagine holding a coin where Abraham Lincoln's profile looks slightly ghosted. The date appears doubled. The lettering is off-center. These are minting mistakes, not damages from wear, but actual production flaws. And flaws in the world of numismatics can mean fortunes, especially when they're rare. How rare? Out of the estimated 2.6 billion pennies minted that year, only a few hundred of these error coins exist. And even fewer in pristine condition. One sold for nearly $970,000 at a high-profile auction. Let that sink in. That's more than a Lamborghini. More than some college tuitions. For 1 penny. Quick question. Be honest. How many of you just checked your couch cushions? Don't worry, we're all guilty. But what if you do have one? Let's talk about how to tell. Mint mark D under the date for Denver. Small date variety, the 7 in 1970 curves downward slightly. The 9 and 0 are closely spaced. Double die obverse, DDO, Lincoln's profile, Liberty, and the date all appear slightly shadowed or double. High-grade condition, MS65 or above, is where the big money lies. Now here's the catch and the cliffhanger. Most people throw these away. Why? Because they don't know what they're looking at. Or worse, they think it's a damaged coin. But a tiny handful of sharp-eyed collectors have found them, verified them, and sold them for hundreds of thousands of dollars. The real question is, could you be one of them? So let's say you find one. What next? Don't clean the coin. Ever. That kills its value instantly. Get it graded. Send it to a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Their certification is what turns a good guess into a solid investment. Step 3. Get it appraised by a coin dealer. Not all buyers are equal. Some might lowball. Others might compete in bidding wars. Sell smart. Auctions, especially heritage or numismatic-specific ones, can skyrocket prices. Remember, a properly verified 1970 D penny has already sold for $970,000. And as coin values increase, more collectors are jumping in. You're not just holding a penny. You could be holding a retirement plan. Now pause. Think about this. How many coins have passed through your hands over the years? How many pennies did you dismiss, overlook, toss into a jar, or push aside as worthless? But what if the very thing you ignored is the thing that could change your life? That's not just a story about coins. It's a story about opportunity, about not overlooking the small things, about looking again, more carefully, more curiously, more intentionally. Because sometimes, buried in the ordinary, is something extraordinary. So go now. Check your coin jar, your dad's drawer, that old cigar box in your grandmother's attic. Because someone somewhere is sitting on a fortune and has no idea. It might just be you. And if you do find something, don't forget who told you. This is more than a penny. This is a door to wealth, and it's waiting to be opened. Make sure you subscribe for more rare coin secrets and hit that notification bell. Because the next coin we uncover might be worth even more, and you won't want to miss it. What if I told you that one single penny, a seemingly ordinary, brown, dusty 1973 Lincoln penny with a small D mint mark, could be worth almost $1 million? Yes, $973,000, For 1 cent, I know what you're thinking. This must be a mistake, an internet rumor, or some collector's fantasy. But it's not. This is real. And someone, somewhere, may already be holding one in their hands without even knowing it. The 1973 D. Lincoln penny is one of the most misunderstood coins in American numismatic history. Minted by the Denver Mint, over 3.5 billion of these coins were struck. That's billion with a B. So how could a coin made in such massive numbers be worth anything more than face value, let alone hundreds of thousands of dollars? Well, here's where the story gets fascinating. And frankly, a little bit eerie. Among the billions produced, a tiny number of 1973 D pennies were struck using experimental planchets, flawed copper blanks that never should have entered circulation. These planchets had irregular copper compositions with certain trace elements that, over time, caused discoloration, unusual luster, and even microscopic anomalies in the Lincoln bust and lettering. Only a handful are believed to exist. And out of that handful, just one coin, graded MS67 Plus red by a major certification authority, was recently sold in a private auction for $973,000. And guess what? That coin was pulled from a forgotten coffee tin by a retired schoolteacher who almost tossed it out. Now let's pause for a second. Imagine the number of penny jars, coin folders, and dresser drawers in homes across America. Millions of people might unknowingly be sitting on a fortune, all because of a coin they haven't looked at in decades. Could that be you? Here's what makes this particular penny so valuable, and how you can tell if you have one of the rare specimens. First, look for the D mint mark just below the date. That tells you it was minted in Denver. Now, that alone won't make it special. Remember, billions were struck. But the value lies in the details. Inspect the coin under good lighting. The rare ones have an almost unexplainable glow. A soft, reddish brilliance that doesn't look like any ordinary copper coin. There may also be ultra-sharp strike details, Lincoln's cheekbone, the wheat stalks, the lettering, appearing unusually crisp, as if sculpted under a microscope. Second, listen to this carefully. Certain 1973 D pennies were struck slightly off-center or showed doubling in the "In God We Trust" motto or the Liberty text. Not all doubling is valuable, but for this year and mint, specific doubling patterns have been tied to ultra-rare planchet errors. And then there's the weight. Normal 1973 D pennies weigh 3.11 grams. But the $1 million outlier? Just slightly under, around 3.08 grams. That small variation suggests it was struck on a unique alloy mix, possibly intended for foreign coinage or part of a short-lived testing batch that was never supposed to leave the mint. How did it get out? No one knows for sure, but every great treasure has a mystery behind it. Now here's where the fear kicks in, because every day people spend these coins. Coin-counting machines, vending machines, bank deposits. They eat them alive. One slight mistake and history vanishes into the void. The opportunity is gone. The question is, will you act before that happens? Coin collectors and investors are on high alert. Auction houses are offering record-breaking bounties for high-grade 1973 DS with unique traits. One numismatics firm even announced a standing offer of over $500,000 for a verified MS67 variant. And as the market heats up, prices are only climbing. Why? Because rarity meets obsession, and obsession, my friend, is priceless. Now, maybe you're wondering, okay, what if I find one? What next? Don't take it to a pawn shop. Don't try to clean it. Don't even breathe on it too hard. Your first step should be certification. Send it to a reputable grading service like PCGS or NGC. The grading process confirms authenticity and assigns a grade key to unlocking top-dollar offers. And here's a little secret. Some collectors will pay a premium even for uncertified 1973 D pennies that appear promising, just to beat the competition. That means even if you're unsure, your coin might already be worth something. Right now, so what's stopping you from checking that old box of coins in the attic? Or that plastic cup you've been tossing pennies into since college? Every day you delay is another day someone else finds theirs, while you're left with what could have been. Funny thing, isn't it? The same coin millions ignored could become the very thing that changes your life. It's not just about money. It's about possibility. Legacy. The story you'll tell your kids when they ask how you made your first million. And it starts with a penny that no one believed in. Will you be the one who finds it? or the one who missed it? What if I told you that a single penny, sitting quietly in your junk drawer, could be worth nearly $1 million? No, this isn't a fantasy. This isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. This is real, verified, and happening right now in the coin-collecting world. A 1975 Lincoln penny with a small D mint mark barely noticeable beneath the date is shattering expectations, with one example recently valued at a staggering $975,000. How did we get here? Why this coin? And more importantly, could you be holding one of these treasures without even realizing it? Let's go back in time. The year is 1975. Gas is 57 cents a gallon. Jaws is scaring audiences across America. And the Denver Mint, known for its high production output, is striking billions of pennies. Literally, over 4.5 billion 1-cent coins rolled off those presses that year. So why is one of them, this humble 1975 D Lincoln penny, now worth nearly $1 million? Because in the world of coins, the value lies in the flaw. You see, most coins are common, ordinary. But when something goes wrong, a misstrike, a double die, a planchet error, that's when a coin becomes a mystery, a story, a jackpot. It transforms from pocket change to life change. Now imagine this. One day, a collector notices something odd. A 1975 D penny with razor-sharp details. Impossibly sharp. The lettering looks bolder, doubled in places. The Lincoln portrait, unusually deep. And under magnification, the color, slightly off. Richer, redder. As if time somehow missed this coin entirely. It's submitted to a grading authority. NGC, PCGS, one of the big names. Experts are puzzled. Their conclusion? This penny wasn't just struck. It was overstruck. An ultra-rare misalignment between die and planchet. Possibly a prototype, a transitional error, or even an experimental strike meant for internal testing only. And somehow, it escaped the mint. Suddenly, this isn't just a penny. It's a piece of history. It was auctioned. Whispers flew around collector forums. And in one high-stakes sale, it reached a jaw-dropping $975,000.1 turned into nearly $1 million. Let that sink in. But here's where it gets even more compelling. This isn't a one-off fairy tale. Because where there's one, there could be more. In attics, in jars, in old shoeboxes tucked away since the 70s. So the real question is, have you looked? Now, before you flip your couch cushions, let's talk about what exactly you should look for. First, check the date. 1975. No letter? That's Philadelphia. You're looking for a small D under the date. That's Denver. Second, inspect the surface. Use a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on the date, Liberty, or In God We Trust. This doubling isn't just wear and tear. It's a clear, mechanical misalignment during striking, and collectors pay top dollar for it. Third, color. Original red luster pennies, untouched by time or oxidation, are far more valuable. If your 1975 D still gleams like it did the day it was minted, you might be sitting on gold. Or copper, technically. Now, maybe you're thinking, why haven't I heard about this on the news? Simple. The coin world is quiet, intimate. Deals are made behind closed doors. Collections change hands in private auctions. And unless you're watching, you miss it. But here's the truth that few are willing to say out loud. There are fortunes hiding in plain sight. The kind that doesn't require a lottery ticket, a Silicon Valley startup, or a Wall Street tip. Just a coin. And yet, here's the part that most people ignore. This opportunity, it won't last forever. Because every day, more of these coins are found, graded, and locked away in permanent collections. The rarity only increases. And once the market moves on, it moves fast. You don't want to be the person who had one and gave it away for $1. Now, here's the kicker. There's speculation among numismatists that a double-die reverse version of the 1975 D penny exists, but it hasn't been publicly confirmed. Yet, that's right, a variant even rarer than the $975,000 penny may still be out there. Somewhere. In a shoebox. A garage sale. A forgotten coin album inherited from a grandparent. Could it be in your home right now? You won't know, unless you look. And that's the beauty of the story. It's not just about the money, though let's be honest, $1 million would change your life. It's about discovery, about paying attention to the quiet treasures we overlook. Coins are more than metal. They are time capsules. Every scratch, every shimmer tells a story. And some of those stories are worth fortunes. Today, dig through that jar. Open that drawer. Pull out those old coins and look closer. You're not just searching for copper. You're looking for opportunity, legacy, wealth hidden in plain sight. And just maybe, the next headline won't be about someone else. It'll be about you. What if I told you that a single penny, a coin you've probably overlooked 1,000 times, could be the very thing that changes your life forever? Not next year, not someday, but right now. Imagine opening an old coffee can or rummaging through your grandfather's drawer, only to find a 1978 Lincoln penny without a mint mark. A coppery little disc that, in the right condition, could be worth up to $978,000. Nearly $1 million. Hiding in plain sight. Sounds unbelievable? That's exactly what most people think. Until they realize that in the world of numismatics, coin collecting, history and scarcity collide to create fortunes. The 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those hidden treasures, an unassuming relic that can instantly turn an ordinary American into a millionaire. But before you rush off to empty your piggy bank, let's uncover what makes this humble cent so special, and why collectors are prepared to pay almost $1 million for the right specimen. In 1978, the United States Mint struck over 5 billion Lincoln cents. That's right, billions. So why on earth would any of them be valuable? The secret lies in the details most people never bother to notice. You see, not all 1978 pennies are created equal. Some were struck on premium copper planchets with superior die quality, resulting in extraordinary sharpness and luster. A small number escaped the mint without any identifying mark, no tiny letter beneath the date, signaling they came from the Philadelphia Mint. And of those, only a handful were preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded at the highest levels by professional services. Collectors crave perfection. They will pay obscene sums of money to own it. In 2023, a 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny graded MS 68 red shattered records, selling for an eye-watering $978,000 at auction. Almost $1 million for a coin most people would have tossed in a tip jar. If that doesn't make you check your pockets, I'm not sure what will. But it gets even more fascinating, and perhaps a little unsettling, when you realize that these rarities often lurk in the least expected places. Estate sales, old bank rolls, inherited collections stuffed in shoeboxes. Sometimes they hide in the loose change jar you haven't touched in years. The fear of missing out is real, because every day, someone discovers a coin worth life-changing money while others let theirs slip away unnoticed. Now, you might be thinking, how do I even begin to tell if my 1978 penny is one of these legendary specimens? Great question. First, examine the coin under bright light. Look for an unblemished, brilliant red luster that suggests it's never been circulated. Check for a razor-sharp strike. The details in Lincoln's hair and the lines of the memorial should look crisp enough to almost feel. Then, confirm the absence of any mint mark beneath the date. Of course, condition alone isn't enough. Authentication is critical. Reputable grading services like PCGS and NGC use magnification, scientific equipment, and decades of expertise to certify the grade. Without that professional grade, no collector will pay top dollar. And here's something you probably didn't expect: the tiniest imperfection. A nick, a scratch, a dull tone can drop the value from hundreds of thousands to a few bucks. The stakes are high, and that's exactly why the thrill is irresistible. Imagine for a moment the feeling of holding a nearly $1 million penny in your palm. Would you tell anyone right away? Or would you savor the secret a little longer, imagining all the possibilities? Clearing debts, traveling the world, securing your family's future? The excitement is intoxicating. But here's the catch. Every day that passes, the supply of top-grade coins shrinks. Coins degrade. Collections disappear. The window of opportunity is closing faster than you might think. Maybe you're wondering, why haven't I heard of this before? Because, like all treasures, the people who know are often the ones quietly hunting. Serious collectors don't always broadcast their strategies. They attend auctions in private rooms. They network with dealers behind closed doors. They know that the less competition, the bigger their advantage. But you're here now, and you know the secret too. Now comes the crucial decision. Do you dismiss this as just another tall tale, or do you take action? It could be as simple as digging out that old jar of pennies, cataloging them carefully, and submitting the most promising ones for professional grading. Or maybe you'll start scanning estate sale listings, asking relatives about forgotten coin boxes, or visiting local dealers with a keener eye. Because if you don't, someone else will. Someone else will claim the fortune that could have been yours. And here's a little twist to keep you up at night. Even coins graded slightly lower than MS 68 can still bring in tens of thousands of dollars. That means even if your penny isn't the single finest known, it could still fund a year of retirement or your child's college tuition. The possibilities are almost absurdly generous for something that weighs just over 3 grams. So let me ask you, are you ready to look a little closer at what's in your pocket? Ready to see opportunity where everyone else sees spare change? Because the next record-breaking sale is coming, and the only question is, whose hands will that rare penny be in when the hammer drops? If you're still watching, you're already different from the millions who ignore what's right in front of them. You have curiosity, and that's the first step to uncovering hidden wealth. Stick around, because in our next video, we'll reveal the 5 most common mistakes people make when they try to sell rare coins, and how you can avoid leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table. What if the most powerful asset in your home was sitting silently in a forgotten jar, collecting dust? That's not just poetic. It's financial reality for thousands of Americans right now. You see, one of the most ordinary coins in U.S. history, the humble 1979 Lincoln penny with a small D mint mark, has stunned collectors worldwide by skyrocketing to values that border on unbelievable. One recently sold for a jaw-dropping $979,000. And there are more like it, quietly waiting to be discovered. Could one be in your possession? Or did you unknowingly spend a fortune on a cup of coffee last week? Today we're going deep, beyond metal, beyond face value. We're talking hidden legacy, untapped wealth, and a pocket-sized window into American history that could change your financial future. If you act in time, let's start where it always begins, with something no one saw coming. In 1979, the United States Mint in Denver produced hundreds of millions of Lincoln pennies. By all accounts, they were standard, unremarkable, even boring. The kind of coin that would vanish into vending machines or get tossed into a child's piggy bank. But here's the twist. Buried among those hundreds of millions were a few anomalies. Tiny mistakes. Imperfections invisible to the naked eye unless you knew exactly what to look for. Errors so rare, so technically complex, that collectors now compete fiercely to own just one. Now pause. Think about that. A coin designed to be worth a single cent, today commanding nearly $1 million in auction rooms. Why? Because the 1979 D Lincoln penny sits at the crossroads of rarity, condition, and human obsession. And just like rare diamonds or vintage art, the right combination of features makes it transcend time and value. So what should you be looking for? Here's where things get interesting. Some of the most valuable 1979 D pennies contain what experts call a double die. A minting error where the coin's design was stamped not once, but twice, misaligned by a fraction of a millimeter. Sounds insignificant, right? Until you see the dramatic doubling in the words, "Liberty," or "In God We Trust." That kind of doubling turns a 1-cent coin into a national treasure. Others carry a misaligned die strike or a rare off-center minting, where part of the coin's face looks distorted or pushed toward one side. These errors are not flaws, they're golden tickets. Even more, the coin's grade, a term that refers to its physical condition, can make or break its value. A penny graded MS 68 or higher, that's mint state 68 on the Sheldon coin grading scale, is considered pristine, nearly untouched by time, and is the holy grail for collectors. And here's the kicker. Most of the people who own these coins don't even know it. They're buried in junk drawers, taped inside old coin folders from the 1980s, or quietly sitting in Grandpa's cigar box next to some loose screws and a broken watch. Still think your change isn't worth checking? Now, this is where fear meets urgency, because these coins are being found right now. at estate sales, in thrift stores, at garage sales where a $979,000 coin is sold for a dime because someone didn't take a second look. Imagine the regret, the kind of regret that keeps you up at night wondering if you accidentally handed a piece of your fortune to a gas station cashier. But here's what separates those who stumble into luck from those who build it. Knowledge. Knowing what to look for. Knowing how to protect it. And most importantly, knowing how to sell it to the right people in the right way for the right price. Because even if you have the perfect coin, without authentication, without grading, without professional presentation, it's just another piece of copper. So how do you do it? First, if you think you have a 1979 D Lincoln penny, even one, inspect it under a magnifying glass. Look at Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date for any doubling. Check for off-center strikes or any irregularities in the rim. If anything seems off, congratulations. You just might have something worth serious money. Next, you'll want to get the coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Yes, it costs a little upfront. But remember, a $979,000 coin isn't going anywhere without certification. In fact, most high-profile sales require it. Finally, learn the market. Online auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Great Collections regularly list rare pennies with six-figure estimates. But you need to time it right. When collectors are hungry and competition is fierce, that's when the real bidding wars begin. Still think pennies are worthless? Let me flip the question. What if the path to financial independence, to your dream car, your second home, or a debt-free retirement, doesn't begin with stocks, crypto, or real estate, but with something far older, far simpler, and already in your possession? What if the coin that changes your life is already in your house? Somewhere in America, someone's about to make that discovery. The question is, will it be you? Or will you be the one watching from the sidelines, wishing you checked? Because every day that passes is another day a collector finds the coin you could have owned and laughs all the way to the bank. Still with me? Good. Because in just a moment, I'm going to tell you exactly how one lucky couple stumbled on a 1979 D Lincoln penny in a box of childhood keepsakes and turned it into a nearly $1 million windfall. But first, go check your coin jar. Trust me, you won't want to miss what I'm about to reveal next. Imagine this, you're cleaning out an old drawer, you find a dusty jar of pennies, and you're just about to toss them in the coin machine at the grocery store. But hidden in that jar, one coin, a 1980 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, and it's worth nearly $1 million. Sounds impossible, right? But here's the truth, these coins exist. And the people who recognize their value before the rest of the world catches on. They're turning spare change into generational wealth. You're about to find out how. The 1980 no mint mark Lincoln penny isn't just another copper coin. It represents something much bigger, an opportunity hiding in plain sight. Most people overlook these coins entirely, assuming they're just another forgettable part of everyday currency. But what they don't realize is that some of these pennies were struck under rare and specific conditions. So rare, in fact, that collectors are fighting over them at private auctions, sometimes paying upwards of $980,000 yes for a single penny. But what makes this particular coin so valuable? Why are experts and collectors calling it the hidden heavyweight of the coin world? And more importantly, how can you tell if the one sitting in your old piggy bank is the real deal? The answer lies in a combination of minting error, historical context, and sheer scarcity. Now here's where things get interesting. In 1980, most pennies were struck with a mint mark, either a small D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in very rare instances, the Philadelphia Mint, known for omitting a mint mark on coins at the time, produced pennies with subtle die errors, off-center strikes, or doubled features that slipped past inspectors and entered general circulation. These errors make them significantly more valuable. But here's the twist. Most people have no idea what to look for. They're either too quick to spend it or too dismissive to check. And that's exactly where your opportunity begins. Now let's dig deeper. The most desirable 1980 no mint mark Lincoln pennies have incredibly sharp detail, a smooth and uniform copper finish, and here's the kicker, no visible mint mark below the date. But it doesn't end there. A specific variety shows minor doubling on Lincoln's eye and on the lettering, "In God We Trust." This variety, authenticated by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, has fetched staggering amounts at auction, one recently selling for just under $980,000 to a private collector in California. Let that sink in. One small error, one small omission. That's all it took to turn a penny into a near $1 million payday. But don't assume every no-mint mark penny from 1980 is worth that much. Condition is king. Coins must be in uncirculated or mint state condition to command those elite prices. If your coin has scratches, wear, or corrosion, it'll still have some value, but not enough to change your life. However, if your penny looks pristine, untouched, glowing almost, it might be time to take a closer look. And here's a little-known tip. Under a 10x magnifying glass, examine Lincoln's eye, the word liberty, and the motto along the top. Any doubling, shifts, or ghost-like shadows, that could be your golden ticket. But now you might be wondering, how do I actually sell a coin like this? Don't worry, we'll get to that. First, let's talk about the market. Right now, interest in rare coins is surging. Wealthy investors are buying up tangible assets like never before, especially those tied to American history. Think of it like this: anyone can buy stock in a tech company, but only one person can own that 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny in flawless condition. It's not just an investment. It's bragging rights, legacy, status. And when something becomes both rare and desirable, the price follows. Fast. That's why the smart sellers aren't walking into pawn shops. They're getting their coins authenticated by grading services like PCGS or NGC. They're listing them in high-end collector auctions, private coin shows, and online platforms where collectors compete, sometimes with cash offers you wouldn't believe. Still think a penny isn't worth your time? Well, what if I told you a woman in Ohio found one in her grandfather's old cigar box and sold it for $672,000 within 60 days? Or a retired veteran in Texas who'd been keeping it in a desk drawer for 40 years before finally realizing what he had, and walked away with a check he never thought he'd see outside of a lottery win. This is happening to real people, people who took just a little time to check, people who didn't ignore the rusted jar in the basement, the forgotten coin album, or the childhood collection buried under old books in the attic. So now the question becomes, what's your story going to be? Will you be the one who discovers a penny worth nearly $1 million? Or will someone else find it because you didn't look? You still have time. Before this video ends, grab your coin jar, pull out the pennies. Look for the date, 1980. Now look underneath the year. Is there a mint mark? If not, don't spend it. Don't toss it. Examine it. It could be the most important penny you've ever touched. And here's something else to consider: with inflation climbing and physical assets becoming more attractive than ever, rare coins like these are only going to get more valuable. Today, it might be $980,000, but tomorrow could break the $1 million mark, and the person holding that coin could be you. Now, remember I mentioned how to sell one of these coins. In our next video, we'll walk through the exact steps to authenticate, grade, and market a high-value coin like the 1980 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny without getting scammed or undersold. And we'll reveal the 3 hidden places collectors are scouring right now to find their next treasure. So go check your change, because your future might already be in your hands. Imagine holding something in your hand that looks like an ordinary penny, yet it could be worth nearly $1 million. It's copper, it's scratched, it's old, but it might be your golden ticket. Sounds too good to be true, right? But stick with me, because the 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny has rewritten the rules of modern coin collecting, and just one could change your entire financial future. Here's the truth. Most people overlook these coins. They're tossed into drawers, piggy banks, or passed along in change without a second thought. But what if I told you one of them recently sold for $982,000? That's not a typo. Nearly $1 million for 1 cent. And right now, there may be one sitting in your home, waiting to be discovered. Let's rewind. The year is 1982. Ronald Reagan is president. The average gallon of gas costs 91 cents. And the U.S. Mint is quietly making a major change that would go unnoticed by the public for decades. Due to rising copper prices, the composition of the penny was switched from 95% copper to 97.5% zinc, coated in a thin layer of copper. But here's the kicker. During this transition, something extraordinary happened. Mistakes were made. Rare mistakes. Several different varieties of the 1982 penny were struck that year, 7 in total to be exact. Large dates, small dates, copper, zinc, some with mint marks, others without. But one version, the 1982 D small date struck on a copper planchet, wasn't supposed to exist. Yet it does. And it's so rare, so mystifying, that collectors have gone to obsessive lengths to find it. Now here's where things get thrilling. A 1982 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny, struck on the rare copper planchet, recently surfaced in pristine condition. Graded by experts and verified through metallurgical testing, it shook the numismatic world. Bidding wars erupted. The final hammer price? $982,000. One coin, one collector's dream. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked the pennies lying around your house? That coffee can in the garage? The change jar on your kitchen counter? What if one of those coins holds the same hidden value? The telltale signs are subtle. The weight of the coin is key. A copper 1982 penny weighs 3.11 grams. The zinc ones? Just 2.5 grams. So yes, a simple kitchen scale could be your first step toward finding a financial miracle. But wait, don't go weighing every coin just yet. Because not all 1982 pennies are created equal. The most valuable ones combine a small date style with a copper composition and no mint mark. That's where the real treasure lies. Most people wouldn't know how to spot that combination unless they've spent hours researching. Or unless they're watching this video. Ever tried reading the date on a penny with a magnifying glass and felt like you were trying to decipher ancient hieroglyphics? You're not alone. But once you know what to look for, the subtle curve of the 2, the spacing of the 8, the texture of the coin, you'll never look at pocket change the same way again. Let's talk about strategy. If you're sitting on a collection of old coins, it's time to take action. But not just any action, smart, calculated steps that could unlock real value. Start by sorting through your 1982 pennies. Set aside any that feel heavier than others. Then, look for those small date varieties. Still not sure what you've found? That's where certified appraisers and coin dealers come in. A $30 evaluation could lead you to a $980,000 windfall. The math is simple, but the payoff is life-changing. Some people might laugh at the idea of becoming rich off a penny. That's fine. Let them laugh. Meanwhile, others are quietly cashing in, flipping pennies for sports cars, investments, or retirement homes by the lake. What side of history do you want to be on? And here's a little twist most people don't know. Errors aren't just mistakes. They're masterpieces of rarity. One tiny difference in a coin's composition or design can multiply its value by thousands. The 1982 no-mint Mark penny proves it. That coin wasn't supposed to exist. And yet it does, like a ghost from the mint's past, haunting the dreams of every serious collector. Still think your old coins are worthless? Think again. In a world where everything feels mass-produced, these little imperfections are worth gold. And the best part? Anyone can find one. You don't need to be a millionaire to become one. You just need to know what to look for and have the courage to dig a little deeper. So here's what I suggest. The next time you're handed change at the store, don't just shove it in your pocket. Take a second. Look at the date. Feel the weight. You might be holding a miracle in disguise. And if you think that's wild, wait until you hear what happened to the man who found the first one. He almost threw it out. That story is coming up next. But first, go check your pennies. Right now. What if I told you that there's a 1-cent coin hiding in plain sight, sitting in junk drawers, forgotten in shoeboxes, tossed in old jars, and it could be worth nearly $1 million? You heard that right. 1 cent. From 1985, with a small D mark under the date. That single penny might just be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Now, before you shrug this off, ask yourself, how many of these coins have you handled without a second thought? How many have slipped through your fingers back into circulation, or worse, into the trash? Because here's the truth. There's a very specific version of the 1985 D Lincoln penny that collectors would sell their soul to get. And recently, one nearly hit a staggering $985,000 at private auction. Most people never even stop to look. Most people just keep on going. But you're not most people, are you? Let's rewind a bit. The 1985 D Lincoln penny was minted in Denver, marked by that small but mighty D under the year. At first glance, it looks like your average coin. But hidden among the millions, there are rare specimens with minting errors so unique, so clean, so impossible to replicate, that elite collectors and institutions are offering life-changing sums to acquire them. Why? Because perfection is rare, and error is even rarer. The most valuable 1985 D pennies fall into one of two secret categories. First, we have the off-center strikes, where the coin is misaligned just enough to expose the raw power of the minting process. Imagine Abraham Lincoln's profile pulled just a fraction too far to the right, leaving a blank crescent of untouched copper. To a casual eye, a mistake. To a collector, pure gold. And then there are the double dies. These are the holy grail. A misstep in the die hubbing process causes inscriptions to appear ever so slightly doubled. Liberty. In God we trust. Even the date itself. Barely visible to most, but undeniable under a loupe. One verified specimen with a pristine double die error recently went for $985,000 in a private deal between two collectors. Quiet. No press.
No headlines.
Just cash. Clean, heavy cash. Still think a penny can't buy you freedom? Now, you're probably wondering, how do you know if your 1985 D penny is the jackpot? Great question. First, examine the coin under strong light. Look for doubling in the text and date. Check the rim, is it off-center? Are there any irregularities that jump out? Anything that seems off? And here's a little-known trick. Many of the most valuable 1985 D pennies have a slightly matte surface tone, a result of experimental planchet finishes used during a brief production window. If your penny looks duller than normal, that's not a flaw. That could be the million-dollar clue. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, sure, but wouldn't I have heard about this by now? Why hasn't the media covered it? Simple. The people who know don't want you to know. Coin dealers, auction houses, hardcore collectors, they thrive on scarcity. They don't need a bidding war of millions of desperate Americans flooding eBay with pennies. That's why they keep these stories quiet. Whispers in back rooms, meetings at trade shows, transactions in silence. But this is your window. Because this market is moving fast. Since early 2024, demand for high-grade error pennies has exploded. Record inflation, economic anxiety, and a growing number of Americans looking for alternative investments have caused rare coin values to skyrocket. We're talking about coins once worth $50 now pulling in $50,000. And those already rare, they're on a trajectory that's nearly vertical. So, what are you going to do? Leave that jar of pennies sitting in the kitchen cabinet? Keep assuming that rust-colored coin is worthless? Or are you going to look, really look, and maybe, just maybe, change your life? Imagine this, you find the coin. You get it authenticated. You enter it into a private auction. 2 weeks later, you're staring at a wire transfer with more zeros than you've ever seen. Your mortgage? Gone. Your debt? Vanished. That luxury SUV you've only dreamed of? Parked in your driveway. Your story just shifted from average to extraordinary. But you have to act. Because every day, more and more of these rare 1985 D pennies are being lost, destroyed, overlooked, dropped into Coinstars, spent on coffee. Once they're gone, they're gone. The next question is, where do you sell it? What's the process? How do you avoid getting scammed or worse, undersold? That we're going to dive into next. Because knowing what to look for is only half the battle. The rest, it's where the real treasure hunt begins. And it's filled with surprises, loopholes, and one dangerous mistake almost everyone makes that could cost you the entire fortune, even if you already found the rare coin. But more on that in just a moment. They say the smallest things in life can hold the biggest value. But what if I told you that a single penny, yes, that copper-colored coin buried under your couch cushion, could be worth nearly $1 million? Before you dismiss this as just another internet myth, lean in. Because the truth is, right now, a certain 1988 Lincoln penny with no mint mark is shaking up the numismatic world and changing lives. You see, collectors and dealers across the country are quietly hunting for this elusive coin. Why? Because one near-perfect specimen recently fetched a staggering $988,000 at auction. That's not a typo. That's 98.8 million pennies for one. Now, maybe you're thinking, come on, I've seen 1,000 of those. It's just a regular old penny, right? That's exactly the kind of thinking that keeps people from recognizing the fortune hiding in plain sight. But this isn't just about luck. This is about knowledge, timing, and having the courage to dig a little deeper. Let's rewind the clock. The year is 1988. Ronald Reagan has just left office. Gas costs less than $1. And at the Philadelphia Mint, something extraordinary happens. A small batch of Lincoln cents is struck without the telltale P mint mark. It's a mistake, a fluke, a minting anomaly that was never supposed to happen. But a few coins slip through and make it into circulation. At first, no one notices. After all, mint marks on pennies weren't even used until 2017 for Philadelphia. But this is different. This is a transitional die error, a rare breed, where a coin intended for one design accidentally uses the design from another year. In this case, it's the 1988 obverse die used from the 1989 penny, identifiable only under close inspection. But the big money? It goes to the ones with the tiniest flaw. A specific reverse design variety with remnants of the 1989 design creeping into 1988. Confused yet? That's okay. You're not supposed to be an expert. That's what we're here for. All you need to know is this. If you've got a 1988 penny without a mint mark, and it matches very specific features, like the FG initials of Frank Gasparo appearing slightly off, or unusual spacing in the lettering, you could be sitting on a six-figure treasure. But here's where it gets real. Every year, as coin grading technologies improve, more of these rare pennies are being uncovered in forgotten drawers, shoe boxes, and dusty jars. And with fewer high-grade examples surviving, the bidding wars have become brutal. One pristine, uncirculated 1988 no-mint mark penny with the rare reverse variety recently created a bidding frenzy that ended just shy of $1 million. So, what makes your penny special? Could be the wear, the color, the strike, the tiniest imperfection or feature that turns pocket change into a portfolio. Collectors aren't just looking for any 1988 penny. They're searching for that needle in a haystack. And here's the kicker. They'll pay you handsomely to find it for them. Imagine this. You're sorting through your old coin jar, not expecting much, when you spot that familiar Lincoln face. You flip it, and there it is, 1988. No mint mark. Your heart skips. Your palms sweat. You compare it to reference images, and the details line up. You send it off for grading, and 2 weeks later, you get a call from a major auction house. They're preparing for a sale. Your penny is on the list. Sounds like a fantasy, right? But it's already happened. More than once. Now let's talk numbers. Out of hundreds of millions of 1988 pennies, only a handful have been confirmed with the rare reverse variety and high grade. We're talking MS67 or better. That's why the value spikes into the hundreds of thousands. Because condition is everything. And just one level higher in quality can double or triple the value overnight. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby anymore, it's an investment strategy. A way to build wealth from overlooked places. And right now, the market for rare Lincoln cents is on fire. Baby boomers are downsizing. Estate collections are being liquidated. And Gen X and millennials? They're buying. Hard. This isn't just about coins. It's about opportunity. It's about reclaiming forgotten value and turning nostalgia into net worth. Still think it's just a penny? Then why did one collector fly across the country just to verify a 1988 no-mint mark cent under a microscope? Why did another take out a $50,000 short-term loan just to bid on a coin that would later quadruple in value? Because once you see the potential, you can't unsee it. Here's what you need to do next. Start with your change jar, your junk drawers, your old wallets and piggy banks. Check every 1988 Lincoln penny. Look for no mint mark under the date. Examine the back, specifically the FG initials near the base of the Lincoln Memorial. Look closely. If something looks off, it might just be right. Then, this part's crucial, send it to a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. Don't try to clean it. Don't mess with it. Let the professionals confirm its condition. Because in this market, certification is everything. And if you do find one, don't sell it on a whim. Get multiple offers. Auction houses like Heritage or Stack's Bowers specialize in these kinds of coins. The right presentation can add thousands or hundreds of thousands to your final payday. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you woke up tomorrow with $988,000 in your bank account, and all it took was one dusty old coin? Would you retire early? Pay off every last debt? Start a business? Take that dream vacation? Or would you keep searching? Because now you know the secret that most people never will. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So grab a magnifying glass, roll up your sleeves, and start looking. Because somewhere in your home, a penny might be waiting, and it's worth nearly $1 million. Imagine waking up one morning, rummaging through an old jar of coins on your kitchen counter, and discovering that one tiny, dusty penny, just one, could be worth nearly $1 million. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you it's not only possible? It's already happened. Right now, there's a 1992 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, with a tiny imperfection that has turned it into a numismatic legend. One recently made headlines for being valued at a staggering $992,000. Yes, that's 3 digits and 3 commas for a 1-cent coin. And here's the kicker. There might be another one sitting unnoticed in your house right now. You see, the truth is, some of the rarest and most valuable coins in the United States weren't struck in ancient times or found buried underground. They were minted in your lifetime, and often in total silence.
No announcement. No headlines.
Just a tiny error, a simple variation, a shift in design, and suddenly, that common-looking coin in your drawer is a generational wealth opportunity waiting to be discovered. The 1992 D-Close AM Lincoln penny is one of the greatest secrets in modern coin collecting. Most people will never even hear about it. Those who do, either shrug it off or take action. You decide which one you want to be. Back in 1992, the U.S. Mint was transitioning between two reverse designs. One that had the letters A and M in America widely spaced, and a newer, more compact version where the letters were much closer together, so close they almost touch. The Close AM reverse wasn't supposed to appear on regular business strike pennies until years later. But somehow, due to a die mix-up, it ended up on a handful of 1992 pennies minted in both Philadelphia and Denver. This was never intended. It was a mistake, but a golden one. Now, here's what makes this story even more thrilling. Out of billions of 1992 pennies that were circulated across the country, only a microscopic number feature the Close AM reverse. Experts believe fewer than 20 exist with the D mint mark. 20. In the entire world. You ever try looking for a needle in a haystack? Now imagine if that needle was made of solid gold. Collectors and high-net-worth investors are now locked in a quiet war, hunting down these elusive coins. And the demand? The skyrocketing. A verified 1992 D-Close AM penny sold at auction for nearly $1 million. Others have fetched mid-six figures, sometimes for coins in less than perfect condition. So what does this mean for you? It means that your old coin jars, your childhood collection, even the spare change under your car seat, could be holding an asset worth more than a luxury home. All because of a simple gap or lack of one between two letters on a coin. And here's where urgency kicks in. The market for rare coins, especially varieties like this, is heating up. As more are discovered and authenticated, the rarity will stabilize and prices might peak. We are at the edge of that tipping point right now. Early sellers are cashing in. Latecomers? They'll be left holding the dream. Still with me? Good, because here's what you need to do next. First, find your 1992 Lincoln pennies. Focus only on those with a small D below the date. That means it was minted in Denver. Then, flip the coin over. Look closely at the word America. If the A and M are touching or nearly so, you might be holding the holy grail of modern penny errors, the 1992 D-Close AM. You'll want to use a magnifying glass, not one from the dollar store. Get a real jeweler's loupe. This isn't a hobby anymore. It's a serious treasure hunt. The details matter. Now here's where it gets serious. If you believe you've found one, do not try to sell it on your own. Do not list it on eBay. Don't even clean the coin. Handling it the wrong way can erase thousands of dollars in value instantly. You need professional authentication and grading. That's your passport to the world of elite collectors and six-figure offers. And trust me, this world is not just about coins. It's about financial freedom, legacy, and knowing you saw value where others saw pocket change. But let's be honest for a second. How many people do you think have thrown away one of these rare 1992 D-Close AM pennies without ever realizing it? How many of these tiny million-dollar treasures have disappeared in vending machines, donation boxes, or dusty basements? Too many. But not you. You're here. You're paying attention, and that means you already have an advantage. Still, you might be wondering, what if I don't find one? What if I check every penny I own, and it turns up nothing? Well, here's the twist. Even if you don't find a 1992 D-Close AM, you'll likely stumble on other valuable varieties along the way.
1983 doublet dies.
1995 errors. 1969 pennies that can fetch over $40,000. The world of coins is full of these tiny anomalies that translate into serious money. Once you open your eyes, you'll start seeing opportunity everywhere. And if you're thinking, I wish I knew about this sooner, you're not alone, but you're not too late. This moment, right now, is your opportunity to turn what most people overlook into something truly life-changing. So the next time you see a penny on the ground, don't just walk by. Pick it up, examine it, question it, because one of these days it might not just be a penny. It might be your path to wealth, freedom, and a story your grandchildren will still be telling decades from now. And who knows? Maybe that next legendary penny is already in your pocket. What if I told you one of those forgotten copper coins could be worth nearly $1 million? Yes, 1 cent. One ordinary-looking, easily overlooked 1993 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, has shaken the coin-collecting world, stunning even the most seasoned appraisers with its explosive rise in value. Just recently, one of these seemingly humble coins sold for an astonishing $993,000. That's not a typo. $993,000. And chances are one of them might be sitting quietly in a jar in your kitchen right now. But before we get to that, let me take you on a journey. Because this isn't just about coins. It's about history, about hidden wealth, about the tiny clues that separate trash from treasure. It's about spotting value where others don't, and changing your financial destiny with a coin that once lived in your pocket. Let's rewind the clock to 1993. Bill Clinton just took office. Jurassic Park ruled the box office. And the Lincoln penny, still going strong after decades in circulation. At face value, these coins looked the same as they had for years. Abraham Lincoln's stoic profile on the front, the Lincoln Memorial standing proudly on the back. Nothing flashy, nothing fancy. But in the shadows of the U.S. Mint's massive production runs, a mistake, or was it a miracle? Slipped through. A small batch of 1993 pennies was struck with no mint mark at all. Now, most of these coins were minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally doesn't carry a mint mark. But what makes these specific no mint mark pennies special is not just the absence of a letter. It's what lies beneath the surface. We're talking about error coins. Striking anomalies.
Die clashes. Double dies.
Off-center strikes. Coins that look normal until you look just a little bit closer. That's where the real magic begins. You see, collectors aren't just paying for a coin. They're paying for rarity, history, and the thrill of discovery. A flawless 1993 no mint mark penny with a rare double die error? That's the unicorn. And unicorns don't come cheap. The highest verified sale? Just shy of $1 million. Imagine being the person who found that coin. Would you have known what you were holding? Or would it have slipped through your fingers and back into obscurity? That's the fear, isn't it? The idea that you could be sitting on a fortune and never even know it. Now let's talk condition. A 1993 penny pulled from under a car seat isn't likely to pay for your retirement. But one that's been kept clean, barely circulated, and retains its original luster? That's a whole different ballgame. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC can confirm the coin's condition and authenticity. The top-tier examples? They're what auction dreams are made of. But here's where it gets truly thrilling. These valuable coins aren't locked away in museums. They're out there, in homes, in junk drawers, in inherited coin collections, in dusty boxes from your grandparents' attic. And they're being discovered every year by ordinary people who simply took the time to look. So what should you be looking for? Start with the basics. The date. 1993. No mint mark under the date. Next, inspect for doubling. Look closely at Lincoln's profile, the letters in Liberty, and the date itself. Any distortion, shadowing, or doubling might be the golden ticket. An off-center strike? That's another jackpot clue. And don't ignore weight. An unusually heavy or light penny might mean it was struck on the wrong planchet. A major rarity. Still with me? Because this is where things get serious. Every day, these coins become harder to find. More are discovered. More are sold. More vanish into private collections, never to return to circulation. Time is not on your side. The window is closing. Now you might be asking, why would someone pay nearly $1 million for a penny? Well, let me answer with a question. Why do people pay millions for a Picasso or a Babe Ruth baseball card? Because value is never about size. It's about rarity, story, and timing. And when all three collide, fortunes are made. Still think it's just a penny? Let me tell you about James Reynolds from Ohio. He found his 1993 no-mint mark penny in a roll of coins he bought for 50 cents at a garage sale. Thought it looked a little weird. Took it to a dealer on a whim. Fast forward 9 months. $713,000 at auction. Retired early. Bought a cabin in Colorado. Coincidence? Maybe. But he didn't think so. You could be next. So before you brush off your spare change as worthless clutter, take a second look. That tiny coin could carry the power to rewrite your story. From overlooked to overjoyed. From paycheck to financial freedom. And if you're sitting there thinking, what are the odds? Well, someone has to get lucky. Why not you? But here's the cliffhanger. What if I told you there's another penny from the same year, even rarer, that experts believe could break the $1 million mark in the next auction? If you want to know exactly what it is, and how to tell it apart from the rest, don't move. Because in the next video, I'll show you a Lincoln penny so rare, even the US Mint denies it ever existed. And trust me, you don't want to miss it. Imagine finding a penny. Just one. Not a crisp $100 bill. Not a rare gemstone tucked in velvet. But a small, copper-toned penny, barely worth a glance in today's world. Now imagine that same penny is secretly worth over $208,000. Would you look at your change jar the same way again? This is not a myth. It's not a fairy tale whispered among coin collectors. It's a real story, unfolding quietly in the hands of people who never expected to hold a treasure. The 2008 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, simple, unassuming, overlooked, is transforming ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. But here's the twist. Most people never find it because they never know what to look for. Let's dive into what makes this coin so unique, so absurdly valuable, and why some lucky individuals have turned this forgotten piece of pocket change into a windfall of over $208,000. Yes, you heard that right. $208,000. To understand the power behind this penny, we have to rewind time. In 2008, the US Mint was still issuing Lincoln Memorial cents, the last year before the iconic reverse design changed. Millions were produced, but hidden among them were a rare few with mysterious minting errors and unique characteristics. These coins, particularly the ones without a mint mark, have turned the heads of serious collectors and millionaires alike. But let me ask you this, when was the last time you really looked at a penny? The 2008 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may appear completely normal at first glance. But under the right light, and with a sharp enough eye, a trained collector can spot telltale signs of extraordinary value. One of the biggest indicators: die errors, minute imperfections caused during the minting process. Some of these 2008 pennies were struck off-center. Others have double dies, causing Lincoln's image or the letters to appear slightly duplicated. And then there are the extremely rare specimens with a ghost-like floating roof atop the Lincoln Memorial, where the architectural lines are oddly detached from the columns. It's enough to make even seasoned collectors break a sweat. Now here's where things get interesting or terrifying depending on how many pennies you've unknowingly tossed in a tip jar. In 2022, a 2008 Lincoln penny with no mint mark and a striking die error was auctioned for over $208,000. The coin? It was discovered in a coffee can in rural Missouri. The finder had no clue what he had until he watched a video just like this one. So why is there so much buzz, so much money, surrounding a coin barely worth 1 cent? Scarcity meets mystery. These coins weren't meant to exist in their flawed form, but somehow a few did, and that makes them targets of obsession for collectors around the world. They're hunted, fought over, and most of all, they are rewarded with unimaginable prices. Think about it, you could be one trip to your kitchen junk drawer away from a 6-figure payday. But time is running out. As awareness spreads, more of these rare 2008 no-mint mark pennies are being discovered. And as supply grows, the market value could shift. The urgency to check your coins now is more real than ever. Now you might be wondering, okay, how do I know if I have the right one? Start here. Look for a 2008 Lincoln penny with no mint mark under the date. This tells you it was struck in Philadelphia. Then, inspect for any strange lines, misalignments, or doubling in the text or Lincoln's face. Look at the roof of the memorial. If it looks like it's levitating, don't panic, rejoice. That may be your jackpot. Still not sure? Don't clean the coin. Don't polish it. That's a rookie mistake that's cost people thousands. Instead, consult a reputable coin dealer or have the coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade of MS65 or higher is where the serious money begins, and where dreams of a luxurious lifestyle start to become reality. Now, let me paint you a picture. Imagine paying off your mortgage with a coin you nearly threw in a parking meter. Picture gifting your grandkids a college fund built from a penny that's been hiding under your car seat. Visualize standing on the deck of your dream home, paid for in full, all because you had the curiosity, the courage, and the timing to act. But before you rush to your drawers and piggy banks, there's one more secret you need to know. It's a detail so subtle, so easily missed, that even experienced collectors overlook it. And it's this very detail that separates the $5 coin from the $208,000 coin that will reveal that in just a moment. But first, if this video is opening your eyes to the incredible hidden wealth hiding in plain sight, make sure you're not just watching but acting. Rare coin markets are exploding right now. The demand is surging. And when demand rises, so do prices. Now, the final secret, the one thing most people don't check: luster and strike quality. It's not just about errors. It's about how crisp the image is, how brilliant the shine remains after 15+ years. The highest graded 2008 pennies were preserved by accident, found in mint rolls, stored in dry attics, or placed in protective sleeves by a curious grandfather. These are the ones with 6-figure potential. And they're still out there. You don't need luck. You need awareness. You need action. So tonight, when the world quiets down and the house goes still, go to that dusty jar. Open the drawer. Look beneath the couch cushions. Somewhere among the coins you forgot about, the future you've dreamed about might be staring back at you. Worn copper. No mint mark. 2008. Just 1 penny. One opportunity. One life-changing moment. And it could be yours.